guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is the 8th of April, 2016, and being a first week of the month, it's a little bit slow around here, although Revell did surprise us. Well, not surprise us, but because technically they haven't announced the kits I'm going to talk about today, but they are available for pre-order on Tower Hobbies, which, of course, if you know your ownership tree, Tower Hobbies, of course, owns Revell through the Hobbico brand. We also have a few kits that have come out in reissue from Aoshima we'll touch on, and being the beginning of the first week, second week of April, this is now becoming what is known, I guess, as decal time here. I know that people have been talking about, the fact we talk about the decals here. It was just something I sort of mentioned in passing. I don't know if anybody really cared for it or not. And so now we've gotten a few positive, feedbacks about that. So we'll keep doing that part of the show as well. And, I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, it's been relatively quiet because, obviously, we already did the announcements for May last week. They came in a little earlier than we would have expected. And then, nothing much has come out as far as April goes, although, like I said, we have 4 reissues from Aoshima. I guess we'll do decals real quick because I want to do a little more in-depth with the third quarter Revell stuff. On the decal front, on Studio 27's front door, and these decals will come out this month. Decals we talk about, unless we're talking about them in like a future sense, like there will be a, blah, blah, blah in the future. These always come out this month. The kit announcements we talk about usually, unless we're talking about the monthly video that we do, telling you what to expect on any given month, the kit announcements are usually a month in advance. You recall that last week, the April Fool's show, we did, Fujimi and Aoshima's May spot runs, so it's a month in advance. These decals we're going to talk about are going to come out here in a couple of weeks towards the end of April. So Studio 27 is doing some brand new carbon fiber sheets. One will be for the 8788C Ferrari F1 car that came out of Fujimi last month. The other one will be for the Lotus 97T that came out of Fujimi last month. And then they're also doing a set for the Repsol Honda, the 2014 kit that Tamiya did. We didn't cover that really because it's motorcycles, and I'm not knowledgeable enough about that and genre of the hobby to know, what I'm talking about. However, if you have gotten one of those kits, and of course Tamiya did like a forks and photo etch set for it as well that was separate from the kit. If you want to do the carbon fiber for that, Studio 27 will have that for you. They're also, very interestingly enough, doing 3 sets of decals. 2 are for the Auto Bianchi A112 that Fujimi reissued a while back. That's an old Mitsuya tooling. And then 1 set is for the Revell of Germany Volkswagen Golf, the Mark I, the Volkswagen Rabbit, basically, to what we are here in the United States. And they are rally decals. As far as I know, there is no conversion for either of these kits as far as converting them from the street cars to the rally cars. I did not look at the Auto Bianchi car at all, but the Volkswagen Golf seemed to have some substantial fender flareage added to the front and especially the rear wheels for the rally cars. There's no conversion kits for this that the Studio 27 is putting out. I don't know if Renaissance or Rege or somebody else will be doing one in the future. However, of course, decals could possibly be the one thing that you need to scratch build something like that. So there's going to be, like I said, 2 sets for the Auto Bianchi A112 and then 1 set for the Revell of Germany Volkswagen Golf or the Revell USA Volkswagen Rabbit, however you want to look at it. Although technically I believe that the rally car is based on the GTI, not the base model Golf, which is what the Rabbit was here. Also, Taboo Graphics is going to do a set for the Volkswagen Golf as well. That's I was sort of like looking at it, and it didn't look too innocuous online because it's sort of just a side profile. But when you look at it from the top, it basically looks like a small German economy pack of cigarettes. It's a Marlboro sponsored car, and it literally looks like a pack of cigarettes on wheels at that point. Taboo Graphics was also going to do a set of decals for the Martini Alfa Romeo 155 Ti V6 international touring car kit that Tamiya just reissued last month. As we talked about before, because SK Decals is also going to be doing the same sort of decal sheet. The decals that come with the kit itself from Tamiya do not include any of the Michelin logos that you need either for the tires or the printed words for the car or the little Michelin tire men that run on the corners of the car. So you'll actually have two choices there, either Taboo Graphics or SK. I'm not sure what SK's decal price is going to be on that. It looks like it's about $4 for the little fill-in sheet from Taboo. If you want something like that, you need to go to Hobby Search or HobbyLink Japan. Links are usually at the end of the credits, I think. If they're still there, I believe. Because that type of little decal sheet like that will sell out pre-order slots, and then you're at the will of Taboo to run some more, basically, in order to get some. I just finally got my fill-in sheets for the Jägermeister and the Alpha Corsa car, because they too did not come with the Michelin logos, but I had to wait for like 6 months now for them to finally rerun that sheet here recently. On the SK decal front, and this of course is a newer company, although they've been around for a while, in Asia, in Hong Kong and Macau. They're just sort of branching out to be more global, more worldwide, and more American modelers are finally finding these guys, hopefully partially because of me. Not because I want to be important, but because I want to spread the word on these guys. I have some of their decals. They're very good quality stuff, and the subject matter is very, very interesting as well. If you're looking to go outside of the box, so to speak, on race subjects, they're going to be doing 4 decal sheets here for mid-April, and I actually have the sheet things here. These were on their Facebook page the other day, and they are. This is the Watson's healthcare sponsored BMW 318i from the Gia race of Macau in 1993. Studio 27 did a set of decals, the exact same set of decals, more or less. However, they are missing a few pieces of wording, and I'm gonna have to. I see something there that I'm gonna have to shoot him a message on anyway. But this set will also include on the right. The cars are a little more colorful on the front bumper there. It has like 3 different front bumpers. Those are the pre-race practice cars, and the decals on those are just a little bit different than the decals themselves for the race, which is the ones there on the left. This is meant to go, of course, with the Hasegawa 318, either Japanese touring car or British touring car. There's like 4 of them altogether as far as boxings that Hasegawa put out over the last half of 2015. Unless of course, if you already have a Watson set, you don't need another one unless you want to do a pre-race car. I'm considering getting this one to do a pre-race car because I managed to botch the windshield insertion on the race car that I'm actually building. So, it is what it is. On to Civic decals. This one here is for the Razo or Rozo or however you pronounce that, with a little German logo, the little German A, I guess, with the I can't. There's a thing for that, and I've lost my ability to recall what that the 2 dots over a letter is called. I took Spanish in high school, not German, so unless you put a tilde over an N, I'm really not too sure on that. But this is going to be for the Macau, the Gear Race of Macau as well. This is slightly different than the decal sheet that Studio 27 put out last month for the Razo as well. There's is this decal sheet, and also does the Intertech 1989 Japan Touring Championship on a different car number. This decal sheet looks to be a little bit more correct as far as the actual decals than the Studio 27 one does. Again, these guys are sort of based there, whereas Studio 27 guys are in Japan. This is the I'm trying to think what we call this other than the motion car, but there's another name for this. This also for the Macau, the Gear Race of Macau, and then this is the cabin-sponsored Honda Civic, also for the Gear Race of Macau. There are going to be 2 more sets of decals for the Civic coming out of SK in the near future, probably next month, I would imagine at this point, maybe later towards the end of spring, depending on kind of, I don't know how busy he is. This, of course, does either the 24 or the 25 car. Cabin being an evil tobacco sponsorship. The only other way to get the cabin car in the Macau printing is to go through Autocolor. They also did another recent, or not, model car, but Taboo Graphics just did this same decal sheet because, of course, the evil, dirty cigarette sponsorship. And, that would be that as far as the decals go, I believe. Now, on to the third quarter Revell. A lot of people just sat through decals. They could not have cared two shits about less, but you're gonna suffer through to get what you want to know. Third quarter releases here. So this will be, July through, September, right? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 straight reissues, it looks like, and then 3 either new or modified tooling reissues. One of these is brand new, and then the other 2 are modified tooling, I believe. So your reissues are going to be the Tom Daniels Beer Wagon. That is the show rod based off of the Mack Bulldog truck. That hasn't really been out recently. That coming out has sort of caused a little bit of a rebellion on one of the forums I belong to. Why didn't they release a different blah, blah, blah and list the name of kits they'd rather have? They got to work with a tooling that's serviceable, and the Beer Wagon really hasn't been out for a while. They're going to reissue the Dodge Ram Charger. Now, this is probably, unless I've missed something, last seen in the Gone Fishing set that came with a bass boat. So that's really pushing it since the last time this got reissued. It's an old monogram 124 scale kit. The Gone Fishing, that's the early 90s, I want to say. So that's been 20-plus years since that kit's seen the shelves. They're going to reissue the 58 Impala. Nothing new there. It's just a reissue. And they're also going to reissue the, let me get the air quotes out here, the Yenko 1969 Chevy Nova kit. Now, why we use the air quotes, if you're not familiar with us, if you have not seen the rant video for that. The 69 Chevy Yenko Nova is a big block SS Nova, and that's all that it is. It just happens to have some Yenko decals thrown in. In order to build an actual correct 69 Yenko, you need all of the baseline parts out of the 69 Copo or Capo, depending on how you pronounce Central Office Production Order, kit. And we use the air quotes about the Copo because there is no such thing as a 69 Copo Nova. There were none made. There were some 68s and there were some 70s, but there were never any 69s at all. There's been arguments here and there about, well, there was this sort of modification through this drag. No, there were no actual factory Copo Novas in 1969. Revell basically issued you a model kit. It included all the parts you needed to fix the other model kit that had come out 3 years earlier at that point. Now we're talking about it being, 7 years ago since the original Yenko Nova kit came out. And, they also included some little fender decals to make SS396 fender logos, which, when you're all said and done with it, and you take all of really what you do is you switch the decals and the hoods around, more or less, and you put the decals and the flat hood out of the Copo Nova into the Yenko kit, and then from that you can build a SS396 Chevy Nova, which was the rarest Chevy factory Nova kit car there was. They only built like 1,800 of those. And then you take the hood with the louvers, although you could do this with a flat hood too, but you would need to get like Keith Marks or somebody to do your decals, because the decals from the Revell Yenko are designed to fit that louvered hood, and they have big cutouts in the decals. You take that louvered hood and the Yenko decals, you put it into the Copo Nova, which includes the non-SS grille, the non-SS tail panel, the the steel wheels and the poverty caps, and the bench entry-level seats, and you have a 69 Yenko Nova. You need 2 kits to build one, basically. I know at one point there were some resin pieces that were floating around the transfer over, but now that both kits will be out, because the Yenko Nova's been out of the catalog for 3 or 4 years at this point. Now you can actually once again build your Yenko Nova. Granted, you need a Copo Nova to do that with, but whatever. It was the biggest cover your ass thing that Revell has done in recent memories. I mean, you can talk about body accuracy here or there with different kits, and the LX Mustang's roof, or the ass end of the '67 Camaro, or various things. But the biggest cover your ass thing they ever did was fixing the Yenko Nova by issuing a kit of a car that doesn't exist, and then throwing in 2 little decals that save you from having just a bunch of parts lying around, and you can actually build an actual serviceable real car. It actually happens to be, like I said, the rarest Nova that was made in 1969, the 396 SS car. The brand new car, the brand new tooling will be the Corvette C7R. That is the race version of the Corvette. How brand new, like, the brand new NASCAR kits that have the old style chassis underneath them, but they're new bodies, or this is going to be a legitimate brand new car, a brand new kit, and then won't have like the older Corvette chassis underneath of it, remains to be seen. Hopefully, I would think they've sort of learned from the little bit of a backlash they've gotten off of the NASCAR kits. They're snap-tight kits, and I see why they did what they did. They better not do that again with the glue kits coming out in a couple years. But this will be the 2015 Corvette C7R. From what I understand from a very, very reliable source who I won't name just because they have relationships to protect with Revell, the decals will be incorrect straight up out of the box because they're going to include decals from the 2014 race season on the 2015 car due to some licensing nonsense. Exactly. Or it's the other way around, the 2015 decals for the 2014 car. I can't remember exactly what it is right now. All I know is the decals that come with the kit are not going to be right unless they fix them. And, of course, for the people who are waiting for a racing Corvette, well, who cares? Because you know that everybody's going to do decals for them anyway. So it's a minor thing. It's just to sort of maybe chuckle because the decals, that's literally the last thing you do other than draw the instructions. You can make the decals be whatever you need them to be right up to the very end. And if they, really intentionally do them wrong or just do them wrong because of licensing, just be better to just, release it blank and let the aftermarket take care of it. One modified reissue will be a gasser version of the 1957 Ford tooling. This is actually, I have a picture of it. It's going to be a replica of this car right here. This is done by the D&M Corvette Specialists. They're the ones that did the 62 Corvette gasser that Revell did their gasser kit based off of. And apparently, from what I understand, there's one other D&M car somewhere in the offings, another gasser type drag car for another tooling. What it is, I honestly don't know. I just heard a rumor floating around. So whether or not it's true, we'll see. That there is another one of those around. So, obviously you need the gasser axles and headers and stuff like that, but I'm not sure what the engine things are there and how much new tooling needs to be added to it. But like I said, this is what they're trying to aim for. So it's not a marked drag car per se. I don't have none of any logos on it, but then the 62 really didn't have very much in the way of sponsorships either. And then the last thing is a Fast and the Furious 1970 Charger. There was a die-cast for this from the original Fast and the Furious movie. This one's going to be based on the Fast and the Furious 7 or Fast 7, which had a different engine and was configured a little bit differently than the original movie's 1970 Charger. There was a test shot in the background of another photo that Revell did for an article last year that showed what appeared to be like a 68 or 69 body, because you couldn't tell from the shot whether or not it had the vinyl roof on it or not, that had a hole cut in its hood, and then the front end of a 70 Charger grafted to it. It wasn't really a test shot in the prototype sense of the way. It really looked like they were making something in the design labs, if you will, at Elk Grove. And we've heard of several rumors and from reasonably verifiable sources that this will be a new tool. Now, it won't be a brand new tool because that seems excessive when you obviously have the perfectly serviceable and good 68, 69 Charger. Whether or not this is going to be a 2-in-1 where you can actually build a factory stock 70 Charger out of it, or if this is going to be a straight up movie car, that remains to be seen. Of course, the movie car, at one point had giant off-road tires and all the things like that went on when they were dropped out of the airplane. So how it's going to come, what configuration it's going to be in, and all sorts of things like that, and whether or not you'll be able to build a factory stock one, or whether we're going to have to wait, till maybe the end of the year or beginning of 2017 to get a factory stock one out of it. This is one of the biggest no-brainers for Revell that they have lying around, which is making that last Charger in the series, because let's face it, there's a nice resin kit out there, but I don't think it's in production anymore, and the AMT annual, and that's it. There is no more. It's not like they're stepping on anybody's toes or making a kit that already exists. Okay, so apologize for the rough edit because my boss called me while I was in the middle of doing that. But you're going to need, to make a 70 Charger, you just need the new body pieces and a couple pieces of the interior and the wheels, and that's pretty much it. So there's not really, a whole lot going on tooling insert-wise there. I'm really surprised it's taken as long as it has to get it out there. I do know that the one NNL East that I went to not that long ago, it was 2 years ago, I guess, the 70 Charger was probably one of the more requested things on a little notebook that they had for people to write down kit ideas on. So why, it's taking so long, I don't know. But then, they have their production schedule and their ideas, and they're going to go with what they're doing. And if the 70 Charger becomes a popular enough thing, which I guess mainly because of the Fast and the Furious thing, perhaps, because the movie cars, whether anybody likes it or not, really do sell to people who collect movie memorabilia and everything else like that. So there'll be people who buy that kit and never ever take it out of the shrink wrap. They'll just have it because it's Fast and the Furious related. And, it creates more sales. Look at the way Round 2 does so many things tied into movies and TV shows and stuff like that. People will buy things. It's a whole other market, basically, than just model guys that are building the kits. So hopefully, it would be nice to have the factory stock one and not just one built as a model kit, as the movie car. I got to be honest, I probably would not buy one as a movie car, but of course I would be all over a factory stock kit, regardless as to, if it's a 2-in-1 with a Fast and Furious car, or if it's something later on down the line. Or it might just be that die-cast that they modify. We'll see. Next weekend, I believe, because I don't have the sheet in front of me, and I think it's next weekend because this weekend was supposed to be it is. It's the Region 4 IPMS thing in Dayton, and then there's a model car show in Cincinnati. However, it's my daughter's birthday this weekend, and not the one that had the mustache, my oldest one. And so we got plans around here this weekend. I believe next weekend is NNL East, or the weekend after, whatever. It's not something I'm going to be able to go to anyway, so I didn't really pay attention when the date was. The reason I'm bringing it up is that, for better or for worse, the guy who is in charge of the club is, a great promoter of the show, and it's a great show. He did mention that Revell had asked for more table space this year to display more things. Hopefully they will not just set things up and hide in the bathroom all day like they did last year. Maybe they'll actually show up this year, so to speak, and actually interact with people. But what they would have on display will probably be more of this third quarter stuff because, the second quarter stuff, we're already getting the Hurst Olds this month, so it's a little late to be displaying that. If the release slate holds the way it is right now, the 48 Ford, which is one of the things that got tacked to one of the pegboards and shown at NNL West, that'll be coming out in May, so that kit's almost going to be ready to ship by the time that NNL East, why is that hard to say, gets here, because, the shipping time from China over here, by the time the boat makes all of its stops on pickups and then gets over here, is about a month, so those things have to be on the water here shortly. I believe the 31 Ford's a June release as it stands right now. And there's a few other reissues of things that are going to be interspersed in there as well. But I would imagine the primary goal of this display would be to start talking about these third quarter kits, and hopefully we'll get to see test shots, if not just general information about what those are going to be about. And I guess that very much just wraps us up to the few reissues that were coming out of Aoshima this week. So let's run through those real quick. You have the 1989 Nissan Skyline GTS T Type M. This is not the first time this has been reissued since we've been on the show, so we won't go into it in depth. It is the only R32 sedan out there. This does come with this, you see there, the RB20 DET engine insert. This kit does come with a clear hood, so you can cut the hood out. You can. You have to cut the hood out to show the engine because the body is molded all in one piece. However, there is the clear hood that you can replace the molded-in hood with without having to worry about, cutting the hood out exactly correctly. This also has a bunch of aero parts, so you can build a more aerodynamic front end or just go with the really, really factory stock GTS front end. The other tooling that always runs with the Skyline is this Nissan Laurel Medalist Club S. This is the Y33, or I'm trying to think of what designation the what designation the Nissans have. I have it here somewhere backwards because Fujimi just reissued their version of this not that long ago. Why can I not find it? Can't be that old. The ones I bought haven't needed to ship yet. HC33. There we go. This course also comes with a RB20 dead engine insert. The same deal with the Skyline. You have to cut the hood out to show the engine, but there is a clear hood included, so you once again can sort of hack it out without being quite so careful about it. Do know that both those are on sort of a very generic, similar chassis. They might be identical chassis for all I know. You get two sets of wheels with the Skyline. I think you get the wheels from the S spec or whatever they call it, the custom version. Was it S? I'm trying to. I have the thing here right behind me, and I can't find it now that I'm looking for it. That's fantastic. Nothing like basically babbling dead air. But I guess it's version R. Version R and version S is what the two things are called when they do custom versions of cars that are designed to be sort of tuner cars, not being tuner cars. You get another set of wheels in addition to these sort of 5-spoke Nissan wheels with it. Also reissued this week for the month of April. This Best Car Vintage 1970-ish. I think it's 73 is I think where we're going with this, because that's what the Hasegawa kits are. Or I should say the Hasegawa kits are 1970 period, but I think this would be a 73. This is, of course, motorized and all the rest of that stuff, but it is also the only way to get a 2000 GT liftback, which, of course, is like the hatchback version, where the Hasegawa cars are sedans. I still have not actually gone out and bought any of these Best Car Vintage Celicas, because there's this one and a two-door, I'm calling it a sedan because I'm so used to calling two-door things a sedan thanks to all the Mopar stuff that Mobius is releasing. But the two-door coupe, I haven't bought one of the Osh because to see if the Hasegawa kit would fit underneath of it. Hasegawa kits do tend to be slightly smaller than 124 scale, so it might not really fit. And last but not least, this is another Best Car Vintage kit. This is a really, really old Fairlady Z that, in 2012 or so, they added the over fenders and the all the aero parts, too, to make the aero custom. And this kit seems to get released every 6 months or so, so I know that it's a very, very popular kit in Japan as far as the subject matter. A lot of people just build this more or less box stock and add different wheels and camber and stuff like that to it. Personally, I think there are better choices as far as if you're just trying to build a nice-looking Fairlady Z and the custom aero parts aren't your big concern. Hasegawa makes curbsides. Fujibi makes kits with engines, albeit without engine bays to put them in per se. But I personally think there are better choices as far as a Fairlady Z of that generation than that kit. Although that kit, like I said, for Japan especially, is very, very popular, and I'm not going to fault Aoshima for just cashing in on the popularity of something. But all four of those are straight reissues, straight restocks to the shelves, and there's nothing new about any of them. And that, guys, I believe, would be that. Before we go, Fujimi news, the Pacific Racing MP412C GT3 kit that was supposed to come out in February finally has box art done for it and has a release date now of April 26th. So that should be out at the end of the month. And then the thing we've been calling the Vents AMG C-Class, because that's how it was on a vendor list. I've seen the box art for that. And it is just blank black. Much like the M3 and the Mercedes-Benz Evolution kits that came out probably 2-3 years ago now, that had no sponsorship decals and were supposed to be like street cars, basically, even though they were just the straight-up raced versions. No fear there. If you really want to build one of those, Fujimi DTM cars, there are a plethora. I know Studio 27 did a bunch. I'm not sure if Taboo did any or not, but there are at least a half a dozen sets of decals for that kit. Wouldn't surprise me if Studio 27 does a limited run of several of them next month when the kit comes out. But that does appear to be the kit will come out this month. The decals are already planned for this month. But at any rate, there are decals for it, and it does not appear to be coming with any livery decals in it, which is fine. Whatever, it's not that great a kit to begin with by the Tamiya one. buy the Tamiya one. Tamiya, you need to reissue this DTM car. And that's it, guys. We'll see you on the other side.